Parenthood, where we explore the beautiful chaos of parenting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Parenthood, the podcast that delves into the intricate journey of parenthood with heartfelt stories and insightful conversations. I'm your host, Neha Garg, and today we have an exceptional guest with us, Pallavi Barman. Pallavi is a dynamic professional, a dedicated mother, and someone who epitomizes the balance of ambition and family life. She is the self designated chief home officer of her household and a self employed powerhouse who manages to orchestrate the lives of those around her with remarkable finesse. Pallavi, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Neha. Thank you so much. And what an introduction. I think I'm floored. What a great start to this chat. The
You
kind of
deserve
adjectives,
this and much, much more.
those beautiful adjectives that you have used, I'm going to take some back and use them personally as well. When me and my husband have a quarrel, I'm going to show, see, this is how I'm perceived outside of here.
Definitely, definitely. And to kick things off, Pallavi, if your life was a book, what would the title be and which chapter are you currently living?
I would call it the go-getter, or it would be called Forever WIP. I believe I'm forever a work in progress, and it's very important to me that that work in progress never stops, because one of the things that I've negotiated for and settled for is to ensure that I don't drop a ball on being a WIP, which is contributing to myself, contributing to the personal growth, especially after becoming a mother. And the essence of growth is learning and building every day. Our nails grow. That's how we know they're growing. So you have to grow. WIP, I guess I'm past the mid section of the book. It's nowhere near the end, but I'm past the mid. I think a lot of scratchy parts are kind of taken care of. The build up to who I am, my ideology, my character sketch, all of that is kind of settled in. Now it's about the sustenance of this character and how it kind of progresses and shoots up from here on. Probably there won't be an end, there will be a sequel, and so on and so on.
Godspeed, and this sounds absolutely adorable. This is who we know you as, and would expect nothing less from you. And could you tell us a little about your family? Tell us about your children, Seher and Karamveer, about your partner, Dalveer.
Sunday, I completed 12 years of being married to Dalveer Singh Nagi.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so
You're
much.
many more.
Yeah, he's been the partner and friend and a father to Seher and Karamveer, who are 8 and 5 respectively. Beautiful children. Dalveer's family is very happy because they feel that because of me, in some ways, the next generation will be born white and with light eyes, the Panjus that we are. So they're a very good looking boy and girl. And they're very intelligent, they're very sharp, they're kind. Since the time they have come along, my relationship with my partner, with Dalveer, has evolved drastically. And I'm not just saying for the great, for the good, but in many, many ways.
Yeah.
We have grown in certain aspects, we've ebbed in some, but it's out and out an evolution. We're two different people now. They always say in a relationship, one person evolves faster, one relatively slower. I think I'm the one who evolved, matured way more. And you can see a lot of changes in Dalveer also now, because we've been collectively parents for 8 plus 5, 13 years now. So there's a lot that goes on in the last 1 decade. It feels like a lot has been squashed in our lives. We just kind of live 2x in a way. It's a very balanced household because I come from a school of thought where discipline matters. You know, on an average day, all of us are up at 6:30, and all of us are tucked in bed by 9:30. So you can imagine the kind of household, but it's not sedentary. It's not sedate. There's always action. There's always like, come, let's do this. Let's go cycle. Let's do the food is typically healthy. So there is less of junk and all of that. And weekends, we hit it off. We party like crazy people, both of us and both of them. Let your hair loose and do whatever you want to do kind of a situation. Yeah, it's a popular household. I have tons of kids coming over to mine every day for dinner and lunches and all of that. So at any given point in time, there are 4 or 5 children in my house.
Sounds very inviting. But how did you and Dalveer meet? Of course, you're talking about the evolution of the relationship, but how has it evolved over the last 12 years?
We met at a bar, and since then he never left my back, literally and figuratively. He kept calling, saying, look, next date, coffee, this, that, relentless. And I was in a relationship then. I was very sure that I'm kind of not leaning towards him, and I made it clear that, look, I'm seeing somebody and it's not going to happen. It's like, no, look, I'm not talking about any hanky panky. I want to get married to you. So this is how it began. Saying it's not like I've just met you at the bar and I want to pick you up at the bar and just want to casually date and all. I'm in it because I want to marry you. I'm looking for a girl to get married to, and you are the person. Whether you call it the proposal or whether you call it the unfolding or the start of the narrative, this is how it began. And he was very certain. He introduced me to his parents, saying, this is the girl I'm getting married married to. There were never stages saying this is the friend, this is the girlfriend, here we're falling in love, here we want to get married. We're always about this is the girl and she's for marriage. Started on a very strong note, I would say, because we were certain that he was at least certain that he's found his soulmate. And I think first 3 years before we had our first child, we have lived the life to the fullest because there wasn't a sense of responsibility. I had to run the house because I was the only lady in the house, Dalveer's father, me and Dalveer. But it wasn't that sense of ownership, so to say, because you're still in your late 20s and all you're doing is managing the house literally, but you're not running the show because, you know, behind the scenes, there's always an elderly gentleman who's the whole and soul of the family who will take care of crisis for you. You have a fallback option. So that's how it began. And I think first 3 years we were wild. We were all over painting the town red and we were training together. We were running together. We were traveling together, backpacking in Europe, partying every night. It was a lot of high octane action. Then the child came along, first one, and things changed. Things changed for me. While we were doing all of this in our personal lives, I was always a career-oriented person in the sense that I've always been honest to my career. I have never been in a job. Whatever I take up, there is a sense of ownership, and the idea is to contribute to whatever ways. Something as small as being a marketing manager and owning the budget. That budget feels like my real money, you know, so I'm very touchy. It's not just about signing checks and sitting and kind of, I think that I learned that from my banker father, that honesty, that earnesty. So I've always been a very, very career driven person, very ambitious about where I want to land myself and how I wanted to see myself grow. So all of that continued. And when Seher came along, before that, I had worked at Reliance, I'd worked at Tata and I'd worked at VIP. Very gratifying career path. I achieved quite a bit. I learned quite a bit. I made great friends. I made great associations and relationships. And in between, I tried my hands at what I call a boutique marketing consulting firm. So I used to work with SMEs and help them package their brand, do their assets. But when Seher came along, me being indispensable because you're in consulting, you need to be the face of it. You need to sit with the client. It fell through. And post the maternity break of about 3 to 4, I mean, I was literally very jittery after 3 to 4 months saying, oh no, I don't have anything to go back to now. What am I doing? So that's when the whole application process began. Cut to 4 or 5 months into it. A headhunter approached and said, there is something opening up in HRX and this is what it is and this is how it's going to be. So I was like, yeah, I would like to give it a shot. And then he did this personal inquiry saying, you said you've not been working for the last 3-4 months. Why is that? I said, because I'm on a maternity break. And suddenly that person took a, you know, we're talking about HRX. I said, yeah, so it's a fitness brand. Yeah, so you will be interviewed by Hrithik Roshan. I said, yeah, so what do you look like? Have you put on a lot of weight? And I was thinking in my head, oh my God, like, it is such a strange world that a woman wanting to go back to work after her maternity break, the lens with which people view you is so different. And I said, don't worry, I can look the part. I'm very confident that I can look very presentable. And I might be a little chubby on my cheeks, but I'm fine. Don't worry about it. So finally, he was comforted. I screened that first level and I got past all of that, his apprehensions about how do I look and all. I said, don't worry about the fitness aspect of it. I live that life. I am back to pursuing my own fitness routine. In his head, he was probably visualizing something else. And I showed up. The interview went great with Hrithik. He was very understanding. And then I met with the other partners and everybody in office, extremely cooperative because they themselves have gone through this journey, younger partners. And the one question that kept propping up again and again is, are you sure you want to do this at this point in time? Because you're starting something anew and your child is really small, 6 months. In my head, I was sorted because my mother was there for help. Dalveer was there. I had support system with God's grace, nanny, staff, all of that. I said, yeah, I mean, I'm not reinventing a wheel. I'm very confident that I am ready to do this. I mean, you would applaud and appreciate a Karina if she does it. You would applaud and appreciate anybody in the West if they do it. I'm not making a rocket. But this question kept coming up. People had reservations. Are you sure you can put up with the office hours, this, that? I said, don't worry. So I got the shot. I remember initial days were very difficult, not for the child, but for the mother, because it's that parting anxiety, the separation anxiety that you feel as a mother. So those pangs, the mommy's guilt, because you're just getting accustomed to it. So perpetually killing yourself under that guilt all the time. And I was a breastfeeding mother. So I used to pump, the discomfort. I mean, it's all like people don't understand all these things, but if you don't pump, then you know that feeling of discomfort and engorgement and all of that. And you want to. Also, you want to feed your child, give great nutrition to your child, but it's not an easy thing to do for anybody. So if people assume that, you know, women do it for any other intention other than wanting to be in the thick of things, in action and following their career call, let me tell them that it's not easy at all. It's a very, very discomforting feeling to be out and about in your postpartum body. It's not easy. Like you don't feel yourself and you actually not yourself in many, many ways. I used to pump the milk in office and, you know, finding that quiet corner, figuring out how to do it and then freezing it and then taking it home. With all of this, I managed feeding her for a year straight. The weirdest part, again, I'm sharing these anecdotes because they're coming to me now. I would do it in the ladies' room. room. So it's a bit of a discomfort for everyone when you're locking, because in offices you have glass cabins. There's nowhere else you can do it. And I used to get it from the girls and the women saying, why are you doing this? Why don't you just stay at home? And you don't have an answer to this, right? What is a comeback? But anyhow, that's how the journey was. The first year with immense support from my family, with Dalvi, with the staff. I have to give a lot of credit to them. And I used to be in office by 10:30, 11 after feeding her, after ensuring that the morning routine is done, because in the afternoon the babies nap and the sleep and the bathing and all of that. So you're not really needed over there. And then I would reach home by the time it was evening feed or something. So we managed, we figured. Then came the school going phase, where I remember dropping her to school in the morning. So being ready with her, going in the afternoon to pick her up, going home with her, making her sleep, then again coming back to office, then again going home later at 6:37, tons of in and out. And when you are in that state where both the things are important for you, I don't think fatigue takes over in any way. I mean, I could never feel the fatigue till I would lie flat in the bed at night. And I'm like, oh my God, what a day. That's when you would say it. But it's literally backbreaking. If you want to be an involved mother, and if you want to be there for your child and also take care of your career, then it's really backbreaking work. You're constantly programmed to think. There is no way your mind is at rest ever, because you're in and out of meetings, which you make very snappy. I believe after the children have come along, I've become very efficient with my time management, because there is no prologue, there is no epilogue, there is no nothing. There's just straight jumping into the matter, working towards the problem, sorting it, or a non-problem discussion, brainstorming, and out of it onto the next. Then came the thought about fitness, because fitness is also intrinsic to me. Where do you start? Because now you're fitting in the new role that you have taken on as a career person. You're fitting in the new role of a mother, but this is important. How do we do it? In my office building, there used to be a gym in the basement. Nothing great, but just a place which I could use. So I remember back in those days, I used to eat in the car to and fro when I was going for a meeting or whatever. And I would use my lunch break in office to go down to the gym. And then I would come back all sweaty, change into my work clothes again, hit the heels, and back on the floor again. So yeah, I mean, there are few things that you have to consciously choose, and there are few things that you have to consciously let go, has been my mantra. One thing I'm not is FOMO. I'm not driven by trends. I don't feel this intrinsic need to do everything that everyone is doing. Like, I don't want to belong everywhere, because I know I don't fit in everywhere. Like I said, the first 3-4 years of our marriage, meeting everyone, okay, talking about Netflix shows. Have you seen this? Yes, I've seen Game of Thrones. Yes, I've seen that. You had the time available. You had the wherewithal. You could flow with every conversation. You could belong everywhere. You could do whatever it takes. And then slowly, I think I chose what I wanted, not because I don't believe in the other things, because this gives me more joy over the other. And I realized being a mother is great. My work is very important to me. Reading is important to me. Training is important to me. Traveling is important to me. Cooking is important to me. And looking the way I look, like to be groomed. These 6-7 things make the most sense. When relationships and family is overarching, that's the umbrella, that's the non-negotiable. If someone's unwell, if you have to be somewhere, if you have to show up for your parents, if you have to call your parents, all that is non-negotiable. Of course, so I'm keeping it as an umbrella thing. What is not important for me, at least was not important for me in that moment, being out every Saturday night, attending kitty parties, for example, being there for breakfast and lunches, attending every concert in the town, dining at a place which opens the first. All these things have never mattered to me. Till date, they don't matter. Of course, they give me joy. When I do it, I feel great and I show up once in a while. But I like to do those when I want to. You know, I love to go to a bar and have a drink or two, dress up and show up, but when I want to do it. So it's not like a mandatory for me to step out every week, every night, or on a Wednesday, or on a trending night, or a Saturday, or whatever. Consciously drop those things, and I was much better instantly, because I knew that these are the 4-5 things that I need to focus on. As the second one came along, you know, your like mental bandwidth literally reaches a stage where you run the risk of it getting choked, because there is just so much thinking. And now there are 8 and 5. I have to keep track of 3 calendars, which is my own, there too, and then general social calendars. And you're responsible for the needs of 3 people, my own self and theirs. So it's a lot of tabulation, a lot of planning, a lot of foreplanning, like you say. So there, I guess the bigger changes that occurred after making those choices was not wanting to compromise on my time with them, because I brought them in and I owe them my time and attention. So how can I modify my day to fit in more with them? I started waking up very early in the morning. I was never an early morning person. I mean, I would still wake up at 6:37, but now I wake up at 5 o'clock. I finish my workout in the morning even before they wake up. If it is so important to me, and sometimes I wake up, my alarm rings, I'm like, let it go, forget it. And then thing is, oh no, if you let go now, then you're letting go your time with them. By 6:30, I'm done. That's when I come back back, wake them up, get them ready for school. So I get that quality time with them in the morning. When you're a working parent, it's literally quality over quantity. I can't dedicate my whole day, unfortunately. It feels like quality time, those 30 minutes, 40 minutes when I'm getting them ready, we're chit-chatting, they're in the bathroom, they're brushing, they're doing whatever. We have these conversations and they're woken up fresh and we all are fresh. So it's a great start to the day when you're together and conversing. And then I feed them in the morning, prepare for the school with them. So it just feels like a very bright morning to me. It's like my power pack. That's my dose of energy because I know that I have done this very well. So now I can go into the other aspect well. Then they're in school for most part, 6-7 hours. In the evening, again, they're back home. They're doing their drill 2.5 hours. And I'm back home by 6:37. Then dinner is together. Bedtime reading is together. The quality is retained, of course. I think this was the next big change in terms of acquiring a deeper sense of discipline, saying if I have to do this, then I need to do this. How motherhood negatively impacted me? I have become intolerant to noise. I just can't deal with loud places. Noise makes me angry. I used to pacify myself and explain this to myself all the time, saying if you're absorbing so much, you're like a sponge, right? You're always absorbing. The children are crying, you're absorbing. The children are cribbing, you're absorbing. The staff is cribbing, you're absorbing. At work, you're absorbing. At home, you're absorbing. Your partner's beyond a point, the sponge gives way. You have to squeeze it to let out. Also, COVID, my maternity break never ended the second time. Right? I never went out. So I was just stuck. All of that kind of got together. And I felt like this is something that I need to address because this anger was eating into me. I used to have these crazy fits of rage in between. Somewhere it was related to my hormones. I could sense it. That it was that phase. But I would feel that intense rage during my PMS. Just being aware of yourself helps. I think I sought help. I spoke to a couple of people, therapists and all. I said, look, I'm not feeling great about it because by nature, I'm not an angry person. But around my PMS, I feel the seething rage and sometimes it just comes out wrong on people. I don't intend to. And they help me through this. Like, you understand, you're aware, you're talking the right things, you're saying the right things. Let's work on it. I wouldn't say I've mastered it. I still get angry. My belief is we can't shield our children from everything. I can't shield my children from the real me. They need to know all my emotions or the entire range of emotions that mama is capable of. So if I'm capable of love, if I'm capable of hatred, I'm also capable of anger. And I'm absolutely okay being vulnerable in front of them. So I rage. If I'm angry at them, they get it. But then I also apologize, hug them and explain it to them. Sorry that I was loud. I shouldn't have been loud, but I'm really upset with you because so-and-so happened. So now I'm kind of okay. I don't kill myself with guilt. I rather go talk to them and explain it to them. I'm not this perfect 10 and I don't want them to know that I'm a perfect 10 and paint this picture that, oh, mama is a superwoman. She never gets angry. My mother is forever smiling. I am the person I am in front of them. If I'm sloppy, if I'm lazy, if I'm whatever, if I'm active. The funny thing is my children never see me flat on bed. Barely, because I'm up in the morning and I'm asleep after they sleep. And through the day, I'm at it. When they see me reclined in bed, they get so worried. It's like, mama, why are you lying down? Like if that happens on a one-off Sunday, they're just so worried. For them, it's a very sort of a odd thing to see me lying down. It's unnatural. I mean, now I try to make an effort to expose them to my normal self, saying, okay, mama is everything. Okay, mama is not just this Play-Doh person who cannot emote or who's shielding certain emotions and who's always happy and all of that. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm okay. I shout. I have the flaws and you need to know of it. It's just that don't do what I do wrong. So these are all conversations and they also get very worried when they see me eating over the weekends at home because usually I reach office and I eat my first meal at 10:30. I finish my dinner before I leave office by 4:35. So practically they don't see me eating at home except the weekend. They ask me, Mama, do you ever have breakfast? Yesterday Karamveer asked me, Mama, do you eat breakfast? I said, oh my God, you don't know this about Mama yet. But so anger is something that I think which happened to me because the constant absorption and the constant burnout used to come out in the form of anger. And the other thing, the change in our relationship was I'm not a night bird anymore and I don't think I can do it. Because I wake up so early. I think it's only biology and it's physiology now to understand because I wake up so early, I can only last that long. Also, I'm deeper into fitness, so I don't like that feeling of drinking too much. Somewhere it interferes with my day. So that took a while for us to understand and get used to saying, why are you too much of a mother now? Why are you not a partner or a wife anymore, right? From being like a constant with each other to not being together that much, especially socially. Now I guess we made peace with the fact that I'm also old now. I'm aging and I can't do this like the youth does. So these are the two big changes I think in my personalities with each kid.
And you mentioned when you talked about Dalveer, you said that, he shares responsibilities and he's very supportive, allowing you your space. How do you balance your ambitious careers respectively while ensuring that the family life remains harmonious? So, what is his role in this whole dynamic?
Dalveer is an entrepreneur before I got to being one. He started 2016. Now it's reached a scale where he needs to be present all the more so because he's into manufacturing. It's a very different ball game. There is a factory floor. There's a lot of travel involved. Very organically, I have molded myself into the role of the primary caregiver. I'll use an anecdote to explain this. Like when I travel for work, it hurts my children. Mama, why do you travel for work? For how long are you gone? When are you coming back? When Dalveer travels for work, they're fine because they know I'm there. The definition of primary caregiver here is not being sexist or not kind of demeaning any gender or maternal or paternal discussions, but primary caregiver is someone who's waking up the kids with the kids and sleeping with the kids. Basically, when they open their eyes, you are there. You're there to kind of take care of every aspect of the day. I may not be sitting with them and playing physically, but I'm there. Organically slipped into the primary caregiver role because he was building his business. I mean, it's been 8 years now. Yet we balance it out. In our calendars, we plan and discuss way in advance. You have to travel next week. I have to tell him that, look, Tuesday, Friday, I'm not there. You have to. So then he works around it to say, okay, school drop off, pick up is my thing. Classes is my thing. So it's a lot of planning. It's like non-stop planning. Kid you not for everything, like you said. I feel if I don't plan, I will crumble. How do I put it? I mean, because everything has a domino effect. If, for example, if my staff has to take a leave, I lose the plot if they tell me the now. Oh, Didi, mujhe kal jana hai. I said, just do this 2 days. Give me a 48 hours heads up. Because it's a domino in my head. Like, dropping a bomb means tuck, 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 5 other things are getting impacted in your entire week, not just the next day. I don't know if that dependency is a good dependency or a bad dependency. But technically, I feel plan is quintessential for my survival. Like it kind of instills that sense of sanity. My routine and my discipline, it's not for vanity. It's what keeps me sane. A lot of people have said it on record. Like even Deepika said it that, I combated depression. People call you the fitness freak. People call you like disciplinarian and things like that. You do it to be a certain way, to feel a certain way. My discipline and my fitness routine or my regime is what instills that sense of sanity and keeps me wired for that constant planning. And that's the only way you can squeeze all of it in your day, in your life. Otherwise, it's not possible. I mean, if I don't wake up at 5 today, the summer holidays are on. I've been waking up at 6:37. I already feel that I'm kind of pushing it because it's not falling in order the way it falls on a regular day. So either I'm late to office or I'm juggling between the calls, figuring how to do the calendar planning. Yeah, there is extreme amount of planning. Physically, mentally, it's never a problem. I guess both of us are great with them and they have a great time. You can have those conversations, deal with their play, and it's always fun. For both of us to manage, it's being aware of how each of us feel about our work. Both are extremely passionate about it and it's very, very important. And not just that, we have also understood that the standard, the lifestyle that we like or we used to or we want to extend to our children is only possible when both of us are doing this together. Because there are many things. It's not an affordable world. It's the very expensive to have 2 children, their education, to plan holidays. So unless you do this together, it's very difficult to have the good life. So it's that understanding, it's the awareness of what I like, what he likes, and it's also a lot of planning.
You also mentioned, using all the help from family and support systems. So what does your support system look like other than the two of you at the center of it?
When Seher was born, my parents weren't in Bombay and we live with Dalveer's dad. Now I can't expect dad to do any, he's 75 and obviously he was 70, 68, 69, but whatever. I can't expect a male figure to kind of, also he was very involved with work. He would go to the factory. So when Seher was born, my dadi came and she stayed with me.
Your dadi came?
And my dadi, who's 85 now. So she was here. She was in her late 70s. And all I needed, I realized, to be okay was somebody just supervising the nanny and my child. Just that mother figure at home, just that sort of 2 pairs of eyes and ears is all you needed to be okay. Just when you're a new mother, you have all these apprehensions and you're a perpetual cynic. So my dadi used to come and stay. She stayed for months long, at least for 6-7 months when I used to be at work, and she used to supervise. And then my mother used to come in between. She used to come visit, go back, come visit, go back. So I guess not just me, but my mother and father also balance this between them. That my father used to be by himself and mama was here, and then she would say, look, it's been very long, let me go. Papa has no handle on his meals and this and that. It's like, yeah, mama, please go take care of papa and come back again. So that's how it started till I got used to the idea of leaving the kids. I was not okay with leaving the kids just to the staff supervision, especially because there was nobody at home. Nobody. It's just the kid and the staff. Was a little wrenching for me to get used to at the cost of my. So when mama and dadi said, okay, we will do this, then I was okay to go to work and spend 5-6 hours straight. Thankfully, Karamveer's time was, all of us were home. It was the COVID time. So I didn't have to really, plus even I was home. But what a hellish time, yeah, to get on those video calls and talk to people. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have a quiet corner in my house. There were just so many of us, and there were children and nannies and this and that. So if I had to get on a call, there are times when I've sat in the bathroom and done those calls, like literally switched off my video to avoid
Yeah.
any interruption. दीदी क्या बनाना है, भाभी क्या बनाना है, भाभी ये रो रहा है, भाभी उसका दूध का time हो गया. I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. Like, I understood, everybody got used to it. We all got used to people's dogs and children, but this was just too much. But we sailed through that. Everybody was home, all hands on deck, sort of a thing.
How do you manage now? What happens when you go off to work and Dalveer goes off to work? So the kids, the time that they have without both of you at home,
Yeah.
who's there with them?
I have two didis, one for each.
Yeah.
Not because they need to be supervised, but because the school pickup needs to happen in the afternoon. I mean, I have done that also in the past. I used to leave office, go pick them up, drop them home. But now with the growing traffic and the way my work is, it's not practical. I can't do in and out because a lot of things take a toll. I have a team waiting for me over here. So it's for the first 3-4 years, even people at work understood. But now I can't expect them to keep understanding because also it's not the need of the hour. They're grown up enough. They can do carpool and bus and all of that. The kids are dropped. I dropped both of them to school one at a time in the morning. And then I come to office. They reach home by 3:30. 3:30 to 5:30. Now we live in a condo. There are way too many kids. And there's a play area in the building and all of that. 3:30 they reach home, they change. They unwind with the didis for a bit, maybe like a little bit of watching or whatever they do. Then they hit the park, they hit the play area. They're there for hours, 1.5 hours. It's a perfect open play, free play in the open air, fresh air. They play for about hour and a half, 2 hours with their friends. Or sometimes in the week, they have their classes for which they go.
Yeah.
And by the time they're back, I'm usually back. So dinner is with me again, changing, night routine, all of that is with me. So I guess we have earmarked our own spaces pretty well. And then we go out at night once they sleep because we all sleep early. They sleep by 9 o'clock tops, 8:39.
Yeah.
So if now Dalveer and I go out, we go out after the kids are in bed.
And I love how you say that your motto is children and family complete you, but they don't define you. It's so inspiring. It's so truly inspiring. How have you managed to keep discovering? And you keep saying that I've been doing so many things, discovering what you want to do and pivoting to the next thing while dealing with this reality of being a mother to not just one but two kids.
See, like you say, no, if you're a daughter to your parents, it doesn't stop you from doing anything, or doesn't stop you from being anything, right? So just flip that around. Being a mother to two kids doesn't stop you from being anything, or shouldn't be an impediment. It's the exact same definition. I'm a daughter and I'm a mother as well. If being daughter to my parents turned me into an engineer, into an MBA, got me jobs, got me places, being a mother should be reflective of the same. I mean, I should have the same momentum in life. I have not birthed the kids to hold on to them so tightly that I can't breathe, they can't breathe.
Right.
The idea is to create a sense or an environment of achievement, awareness, being able to express yourselves. Because at the end of the day, I will also feel this emptiness syndrome soon. I mean, they're going to go. And once they are gone, if I am only a mother, then what am I going to live? How am I going to live or continue my existence? Again, it's planning, which is my vice. Even without being a mother or even just being a wife or just being a homemaker, even homemakers find slow hobbies, right? Like women who are great with managing their houses, you see, they have great talent to exhibit. They have great slow hobbies. They have great hosting skills, or they themselves are well groomed. It doesn't end at relationships. Relationships add to your personality. I feel you learn, you evolve, you change as a person, but there is merit and momentum. You constantly need to keep moving till you discover who you are or what your likes and dislikes are. Many a times I speak to people, they don't even know in isolation of your family. Can you sit at a bar? Can you sit at a coffee shop? Can you enjoy that coffee? Can you enjoy that book by yourself? Can you just enjoy being by yourself for a while? And a lot of people can't do that. And if you can't do that, there is inherently a problem because at the end of the day, it's just your singular existence that has got you here and that will take you away. I guess that's a thought, and it's not fear mongering or anything, but it's just being comfortable with my own self. You have to make yourself in a way that you're absolutely comfortable in your own skin and with your own self, and you know what your interests are or what your likes and dislikes are. If you're able to do it too, great. That's like a great achievement. I feel that's a good, fulfilling life.
And talking about your professional life, you said that, now you are self-employed and you said you are a planner. So owning and managing a household and owning and managing a business, how do you find them very, very similar, or how do you find them different, and how do you manage it all?
similar at many, many levels and very different at many levels. So I hold two positions now. I continue to be the Chief Strategy Officer at HRX, and I run something called Lap Ventures, which is in the services industry. So what we manage doing with HRX, which is a celebrity brand, working with multiple partners, kind of growing it, is something that Lap Ventures is touted to do as well, which means the celebrity continues to be at the core of it. And I create alternate retail structures around the celebrity. And now Lap Ventures has also evolved into a brand consulting. So it's kind of grown. I have a biggish team now. The difference between managing a house and running a business is I wake up every morning worried about digging the well and seeing water. I am responsible for generating the salaries and they're dependent on me for running their household. I don't want that cycle to break ever. I don't want any of my team members to feel unsafe or say, what a startup, they don't pay in time, they don't do this, they don't do that. You're thinking in that direction and identifying those ripe avenues where you can generate money. You ensure you have a runway for your team. Like that is the part of running a business, which is the toilsome part, I would say. But you constantly are working towards cash flow management. You're ensuring that your runway is covered. Running a household, I feel I'm very old school when it comes to running the household. That means I like my table napkins perfect. I like my plates in a certain way, the table laid out, there have to be fresh flowers. There are blinds in my house. The decor is not modern. It's like vintage inspired. And training is a challenge for me, like training my girls, and they know it. So if there is a guest, I'm telling you the level of OCD, now they're also used to it. If there's a guest coming home for high tea and let's say I'm leaving office, I'm on the way, they're on a video call and they do the table with me. It's like, इसको उसमें रखो, ये service ये करो, नीचे paper doily lagao, mat lagao. So literally it's that level of craziness that brews, and they will take pictures and send me, Didi ye theek hai, bata do, because they know they need my approval for all of this. And a lot like my mother, ki safed kapde alag dhulne chahiye, colored clothes alag dhulne chahiye, color nahi aana chahiye, alag dalo. So I chew their head in a very bizarre way that way. मतलब bed बना रहे हो तो ऐसे बनाना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए. Also, it's a function of age, and I progress in that cycle from, I think when I run the house, I'm the chief operating officer, literally. It's like all operations and not the finance. But when you run the business, shit can hit the roof anytime in any way. And you are absolutely worried about every aspect of the business. It's an absolute madhouse. Okay, my head is like, sometimes I go for a relaxing massage and I say, मुझसे बात मत करना 15 minutes. Okay, phone बंद कर दो मेरा silent पे. I don't want to talk to anybody. Throughout the day, you're talking so much and you're doing so much that there are times when I reach home and I'm like, Dalveer, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to anyone. It's like 15 minutes of ultimate quiet is what I need in life. That's the reason I've started waking up early, because when I wake up early, there's nobody talking to me. It's amazing. Like you wake up, you have your own time, you don't have to talk for an hour. Literally from 5:30 to 6:30 that I'm in the gym, I don't have to say a word, and it feels beautiful. So you figure out these survival strategies, the bizarre things that you do.
And you talked about gym, so you are known. I don't know if it's happened by chance or by design, but you've kind of cultivated a personality where you are known for your fitness and health regime. So how have you cultivated this? How did this come to you? Were you always a person who was into fitness?
Not at all. I was not into, when I was in school, I never played a sport. I mean, I did, but I never kind of pursued a sport. I was into dance, I was into swimming, I was into a whole host of other things, but never ever sports enthusiast. When I came to Bombay, with a broken relationship. I'd gone through a lot of, I got married very early. I got married within a week of my MICA convocation. I think I was 24. That relationship didn't work out. It fell through badly. Very early in my life, I feel at 25, 26, when my counterparts were clubbing, were raging, figuring what life looks like at that age, I was doing very many serious things, being in the family court, figuring a way out, talking to my parents, dealing with the social stigma around divorce and things like that, which changed my personality in many, many ways, because I started living alone after that. Not like I never used to live alone before that, but you kind of, make peace with being by yourself. So that happened, and I came to Bombay. I belonged to a family of teetotalers, and drinking was never a culture, and all of this was never an exposure. So I won't say I knew alternate ways of finding happiness when I moved to Bombay. You can't just get into drinking, you can't just get into any drugs or abuse, because you don't know. I was not familiar with any of that. I wasn't aware. Needless to say, I was unhappy because I was just out of a situation, and I had put myself through to this phenomena called Bombay, like local train travel and living in a place. I started by finding a place. I had no idea of the East Bombay and West Bombay divide. And I found myself a place somewhere in the East, and I was like, where am I? Like, this looks like a chawl. And when you dress and step down, you're like, oh no, this is not, I wanted to walk in a lane where there were coffee shops. I want to come back to a home peaceful and not like an environment like this. Of course, I was managing my finances myself. Not like I was not making money, I was making decent money. But then suddenly everything befalls you managing your rent. In a city like Bombay, it can be daunting, where this much goes away for rent and this much goes away for food and stuff, and you're left with only this much to live your life. And I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, I was unhappy and I was depressed. And I think that was the time when I took to CrossFit, which is a first structured sort of training module that I did. And I realized that this is a good effect, because it's not just I'm looking better, I'm thinking better, I'm feeling better. So in a way, it became an outlet. So every day from work, I would rush to the gym. You went out, you know what I mean? Like it was an outlet. And I guess that's how I got hooked onto the adrenaline. And since then, it's become a need, it's become a lifestyle, it's become a part of me in many, many ways, because what holds you during a crisis more likely stays with you than leaves you. Yeah, I've spoken about it. And because I've been doing it for so long, now I'm a practitioner in a way. I'm evolved in my practice, and I live in a very, I may not be an athlete. I don't participate in competitions for medals and all, but I live a very athletic life. My fitness regime is pretty hectic. Like when I work out in the gym, the men are also put to shame. They're like, kya kar rahi hai? So I think I train like an athlete. I think like an athlete. I pretty much wake up, sleep like, eat like one. Probably that's why it comes across as unique to people.
And Pallavi, I mean, this is so inspiring to even outsiders like me, but you do it at your home. So I'm only imagining how it must be for your family members, your kids. So how do you model these healthy habits for your kids, and what impact does it have on their lifestyle? Are they inspired? Do you think they feel inspired by you?
They don't need to be inspired. For them, it's commonplace, because they've seen me do this right from they open their eyes. From the time they were babies, I have always been active around them in some way or the other. They've worked out with me, they've stretched with me. So for them, it's not a sense of awe. And it's not something which is out of place. For them, it's routine that they have seen. And probably in the next few years, when they come of age, they will do the same. Activities like gymnastics, football, sports, cycling, skating, swimming. These are the kind of activities my children are into. They have a sense of what's healthy, what's junk, because I eat very carefully and cautiously. And most of the times, the menu in my house is usually very clean. I cook a lot. When I cook, I keep it very clean. I keep it, घर का भी खाना होता है, दाल, चावल, sabzi. But the way I cook it, it's fresh and clean and very different. So they're very attuned to that, except for my younger one, who has got a sweet tooth from God knows where. My daughter goes to birthday parties. She doesn't like cake. She doesn't like ice cream. Once in a while, she'll probably enjoy, because they say, culturally, whatever you expose the kids to, they kind of end up doing that. At the end of the day, they watch you. They do everything that you do. I guess it's by practice. It's not really inspiring or striking for them or any of.
And Pallavi, now shifting the focus from you to the world that you live in, could you share with us some meaningful connection or interaction with maybe someone in your community or outside the community or social circle that has, in a way enriched your life after becoming a parent? So maybe some solidarity that you found.
I guess a group of friends, right? I changed schools when I was a kid. My father was a banker. Also, I lived in many, many cities. I changed many cities during the growing up days. So I didn't have very tight knitted friendships, in the sense that it always kept changing every few years. So I don't have childhood friends. I guess I acquired some beautiful friendships when the children came along. And it's like you bond in the state of vagaries. Like all of them are in the same boat, same concern, same depression, same happiness, same joy, same discoveries. I made some very good friends, which has transformed life in a big way. Contrary to the belief that you can't make great friendships after a certain age or after school or college, I guess children brought us together. And now it almost feels like family when you do holidays together, or you can just unabashedly ask for help, saying, hey, look, I'm having a difficult day. Can you just take care of the kids? And the kids are more than happy because they've grown up together and things like that. Definitely, relationships is something that brought me joy. I don't know if it's true of everyone, but my eyes opened to investing in relationships much later in life. For whatever reason, I went through ups and downs, and then I understood the value and the idea of investing in relationships, how you nurture friendships and what those nurtured friendships look like, they do to you. So that came to me much later once I became a mother. And I think it was a beautiful thing that transformed life in many, many ways. Because before that, I'd not tasted like great friendships, saying just pick up the phone, hey, look, come down, let's go for a cup of coffee. And then you sit for hours and you're just talking, exchanging notes. So now I have those friends, and I'm usually relieved that I have friendship in life.
And if you think back to a particularly challenging moment as a parent, either to Seher or to Karamveer or to both of them, what was a particular moment that stands out to you, and how did you overcome it? Probably what did you learn about yourself in the process?
Yeah, kids being unwell is something that I can't handle. There was a time when Karambir was a few months old, 3 or 4 months old, barely. I was not in my 100%. I had a viral myself. I was unwell. Sair was hospitalized. Of course, Dalveer was there, but it was one child at home, one child in hospital. I am a faint-hearted person. Although I was a medical aspirant, probably that's why I couldn't become a doctor, because of being in the hospital with a 3-year-old with an IV drip and the doctor putting a needle and discovering the vein and blood splurting out and all of that. It's, you end up exploring parts of your heart that you didn't know existed, the kind of emotions or the kind of, and I've sat and I've cried because you can't articulate this emotion. You can't, like, it's like a part of you being dealt with medically in some way in front of your eyes and you're helpless. I think I hate the feeling of helplessness. Let me put it this way. Any situation in life, the most scary thing for me is that feeling of helplessness, especially around my children. When I'm rendered helpless, when I can't do anything to contribute in any way, or in general in my life, when I'm rendered helpless, like let's say communication is cut off, or suddenly you're in a position where you can't connect back to seek help, that is my biggest fear and the toughest thing to kind of combat. Helplessness, more so with the kids.
How did you deal with it?
Yeah, what do? You just learn to sail along. You come out on the other side thinking, pata nahi kaise kiya, but now okay, I've learned it. I'm okay with it. So when the same thing happens to your second child, that's when you realize, oh, I can deal with this now because I'm trained. My heart is trained. The muscle is trained to take care of this pressure. Nothing in the moment. You do nothing. You just cry. You thump your heart. Your whatever. But you figure out a way of dealing with it. You just survive that. But when it repeats, God forbid, then you know that okay, you're now conditioned to deal with something like this. So the illness and the hospitalizations and the medical crisis and all of that is that's the one I would say. Sab kuch karwa deti hai life. Once you're a mother, that's the thing. Like you end up tasting everything that life has to offer. There's nothing that you don't end up doing. And I'm sure as they grow, you'll have more of these challenges coming your way. Matlab, at one point in time, you will be okay with the kids staying away from home and you not knowing where the child is. Like literally, life teaches you everything.
And if you were sitting across your pre-parent self, would you have some advice or insight for yourself at that age? What would you tell yourself?
I would just say that don't stop dreaming, because that's what I didn't stop doing. Manifestation is real. There is a power in dreaming. And I would just tell her, don't stop, keep dreaming. And my favorite analogy is if you have left home to get somewhere and you're taking a route which is all red on maps and there are tons of lights, traffic lights and this and that, you may not want to take that route. You may want to route yourself differently, but you don't give up on your destination, right? If there is only one route which is extremely busy, you're stuck for 2 to 3 hours. You spend that time, but you get there. That's the same with life. If you have set out to do something, you will get there. Maybe it's taking longer right now. Maybe it's busier right now. Maybe it's tougher right now. Maybe there is an alternate path which you will discover. But nikle hai to pahunchenge hi na, ghar to wapas nahi aayenge na. So that's the same thing. So don't stop dreaming. Believe in the power of dreaming. Keep manifesting and keep at it.
That's so beautiful. And actually sounds like you had that talk with yourself. You are now living that advice that you were giving to your pre-parent self. You just sound so sorted.
I am far from sorted.
But as long as you are letting us believe that, you're fooling us into believing that, because
no, it's like I have 8 years of experience with me, which I'm sharing as of now. But it doesn't make me any less inexperienced because there are tons of years ahead of me which I don't know. So, I mean, for example, anything that happens to my daughter still gives me anxiety because that's the unknown. But anything that happens to my younger son, I'm in control because that's the known.
This happens.
It's like diving into the ocean for the first time. Yeah. So it's the fear of the unknown. Things that you don't know, you're never sorted with. But things that you know, you're kind of sorted with. So that 8 years of experience now makes me look sorted. But there is a lot more that I will grapple with, I'm sure. Let's see how it goes.
And we are coming to an end to our conversation. But before we wrap this up, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice or personal insights, maybe that encapsulates you, who you are and what you stand for, what would it be?
You asked this to me in the beginning, and I would reiterate that I don't want to stop growing. I think that's my motto in life. And stop growing in any and every aspect. It could also mean learning a new recipe to cook, tabling out some new dish or a new cuisine. It could mean reading a book. It doesn't mean in a competitive way, in a medallion seeking way, but in a very organic, brick by brick kind of way. If I discover something new, like a nutrient that I can add to my diet, I would love to experiment with that and see what it does. So it's basically just sort of moving forward and not regressing in any way. That's something that's been my motto, and that's really helped me enrich my life. the fact that I constantly want to be a learner and don't want to give up on that. So I'm not shy of jumping into the pool with my kids and, brushing a stroke of mine, which is a little kind of rusty. It's fun. It's joy to do that. A lot of people wouldn't do that, thinking, ab kya karenge? Ab to 40 saal ke ho gaye, ye ho gaya. But no, there's joy in learning, there's joy in constantly moving forward. The other thing that I did know of, and I was not very used to it, primarily because I'm a quintessential Aquarian, I didn't believe in taking help. I didn't believe in seeking help. It's not out of arrogance or anything. It's just my nature to not seek help. And it's also not a superhero syndrome saying I'm a superwoman, I want to do it all. No, that's my nature. Like, I don't believe that if I ask for help, help will come my way. So it was just like a very typical Aquarian trait. But please don't hesitate from seeking help, because there are people who are willing to lend themselves. It's just that if you've not asked, they've not heard you. So seeking help from your partner, from your family, from your staff, and working collaboratively towards achieving what you set out to doing. Cutting back to the first point, if you want to be a learner, you will need support system. And for a support system, you have to ask for it. So, and third, don't be too hard on yourself. I used to be very hard. Even I am till date. It's very difficult for me to take a compliment easily, or it's my personality, and that's how it's been. It could also be because of the experiences that I had in life very early on in life. But for whatever reason, I have overcome these things, and it's constantly playing on my mind to see how can I improve, how can I accept. It's a lot of acceptance. Don't be too hard on yourself, because perfection doesn't exist. It's a myth. You can only get near perfect, or you can get good at something, but seeking perfection, like being that perfect mother. Like I said, I'm okay to expose my emotions to my kids because I'm not a perfect mother. I mean, I'm not. It's humanly not possible to be laughing and smiling 24/7. You will have other emotions. So it's okay. Put yourself out there, share vulnerabilities. So seeking perfection and striving for that perfection doesn't work for me, didn't work for me. I've left that quest. I don't want to be a perfect 10. It's okay to not have perfect blow-dried hair. Yeah. Half the time I show up in tied hair. I'm always like tied in a bun and whatever. But I realize nobody cares. It's only in my mind. Like nobody really has questioned me. Why is your hair always tied? Why are you always in a ponytail? I don't look sloppy, but I don't have blow-dried hair either. I train in the morning. Now that's important for me. So if I'm training in the morning, I wash my hair and I can't be perfectly blow-dried hair. It's a balance that you need to find, and don't be too hard on yourself. Letting go sometimes. I love drinking in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon, and I'm okay to kind of be by myself, get drunk, or overdo it once in a while. Although people know me as a fitness enthusiast, but these are aspects of your personality that you live with. So I'm not like a strict disciplinary, because I'm like in this pursuit of fitness and all of that. It's going with the flow. If you're liking it, if you're in the moment, live it up. Having said that, I still get angry. So that's a constant problem.
Pallavi, it has been such a joy to have you on with us, and it's been truly enlightening and inspiring to hear about your journey today. Your ability to balance professional ambition with your family life while maintaining your own identity and striving for this, learning, being a work in progress, and accepting that, near perfect is okay and perfection is not something that you want to strive for or go after. It's just remarkable. Thank you for sharing your experiences and wisdom with us.
Pleasure. Feel free to talk to me if you need more. There's nothing that I've said that's not been said before.
No,
it's just that it's all been brought together.
I think it's exactly that. There is all the gyan out there, but when somebody is living it up, when somebody is contextualizing that gyan, it just becomes all the more relatable. And if I'm doing it, if she's doing it, then you can do it too. That kind of a thing. And I think these trading of stories is very, very important in that sense.
There's the most enriching thing. I think it's easier to learn from stories than to kind of read literature and try, making an academic sense out of it. Very, very happy if it can touch anyone's life and it can do any good to anyone. More than happy to sort of be a part of this journey of yours, decoding parenthood.
Thank you. And to our listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. Pallavi's story is a testament to the power of resilience, support, and self-care in the journey of parenthood. If you found this episode inspiring, please follow, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, this is Neha Garg from Parenthood, encouraging you to embrace every moment, take care of yourself, and cherish your loved ones. Stay well.